So from Barnard, UPSC asked a very significant and tricky question in 2023. That question is more than average, not so difficult but more than average question. So we will discuss about that previous year question of Chester Barnard. This question was 1B, question number 1B of 2023, and the marks in this question is 10 marks. 10 marks question means you have to write 150 words approximately in this answer. So efficiency in the specialized sense is an organization's capacity to offer effective inducements in sufficient quantity to maintain the equilibrium of the system. Analyze. Let us understand first, we need to understand the question. What is the question? Analysis of the question first. So here question says that Barnard has tried to see efficiency in a specialized sense. It means there is a general understanding of efficiency, but Barnard has seen efficiency in specialized sense. So we have to keep in mind that we have to write about what is the general understanding of efficiency. Okay. And then what is Barnard's this specialized understanding of Barnard? So Barnard says it is organization's capacity to offer effective inducements in sufficient quantity to maintain the equilibrium of the system. This is very important because Barnard has talked about contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. If you understand that concept, then we can format the answer. So first of all, in this question you have to write about the specialized idea of efficiency. First thing, I am not formatting answer right now, I am just analyzing the question. So specialized idea of efficiency, first thing. And second thing, you must be writing this idea in the context of the concept of contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. Contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium in this context. So brief knowledge of this contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium is important, and I will share this knowledge, then I will format the answer. Okay. So Barnard says that if equilibrium in the system is maintained, efficiency will come. How equilibrium can be maintained? Equilibrium can be maintained by providing sufficient quantity of inducement to the people. So if organization is able to offer effective inducement in sufficient quantity, then equilibrium will come. Then what is this equilibrium? If we understand, our question's answer will be ready, we will be able to format the answer. Okay. So let's first here discuss about the Barnard's theory of motivation. It is related to, this theory is related to contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. This concept is Barnard's theory of motivation basically. Barnard says, Barnard has tried to define organization also. Let's see what Barnard talks about organization. One definition of Barnard's also we need to know. Barnard says organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities of two or more persons. What is organization? Organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities of two or more persons. Means organization is a system, and system is such in which the whole is always greater than sum of its parts. Barnard says organization is a system where people are conscious. Organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities of two or more persons. So two or more people are conscious and they are coordinating action. Coordination here relating to goal integration. If you know about coordination, concept of coordination, it is concerned with goal integration. So coordination, synchronization, goal integration. People are working to integrate goal. People are synchronizing efforts to achieve one goal, and they are conscious. So group of people form a system, and those people are conscious that they are achieving one goal. They are harmonizing their efforts to achieve that one goal. They are conscious, they know, they purposefully know that they are going to achieve some goal. This group of people is called system. And Barnard says system is such in which the whole is always greater than sum of its parts. What is a system for Barnard? A system is such in which the whole is always greater than sum of its parts. It's a very important thing to know here. Means suppose 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. The sum of the parts is 5. But when this 5 all comes together, it is whole. This whole is always sum of the parts, means it is a greater than sum of the parts. It means it is always 5 plus. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5, but when together they are more than 5. Means they have ability to produce more. And why Barnard says that? Barnard says that people join organization because they assume organization is a system. Suppose I am running my own activity alone and I am earning 1. Just a shallow example I am taking to make you understand. Suppose I am individually working and I am able to produce 1. And I become part of the organization. Here also I am getting 1 in return. I am producing 1, everyone is producing 1. In return I am getting 1. Then will I be joining organization? It is better, do your own work, you will be independent. So here 5 people are there, then if divided by 5, everyone will get 1. If this happens that my contribution individually and return from the organization is the same, I will not be joining organization. So some of the individual efforts of individual is 5, but when they all come together as a system, when they form system, the return will be more than 5, then the outcome will be more than 1. When outcome is more than 1, then this outcome can be shared with people, organization can share with people, so each will get 1 plus. I know individually I am able to produce 1. I come to know that organization can give me more than 1. Then I decide to join organization. So I assume organization is a system, so I decide to join organization. I assume organization is a system, I join organization. Why? Because system is such in which the whole is always greater than sum of its parts. In system, the whole is greater than sum of the parts. Then my return will also be more than what I individually can produce. So if the question is asked concerning system, you can write this answer. I have a bit deflected from the question, but this basic understanding is important to make you understand the format of the answer. Okay. So what Barnard says, Barnard says organization is a system, and Barnard says that this system survives, there is a dependence of the system on human motivation, which Barnard tries to explain through the concept of his contribution satisfaction equilibrium. This organization or a system survives because of motivation. How? Let us make this clear. This is idea contribution satisfaction equilibrium we are going to understand. Barnard says, if I write contribution equals to C, return equals to R, if I say contribution equals to C, return equals to R. So if contribution is equals to return, Barnard says no net satisfaction. What is contribution? What I am giving to organization. What individual give to organization is contribution. What individual get from organization is return. So if contribution is equals to return, no net satisfaction. People will not be happy, they will not be satisfied. But if contribution is less than return, in other words, we write return is greater than contribution, then there will be net satisfaction. So individual contributed in the organization, organization given return, again individual contributed, again organization giving return, individual contributed, organization given return. If they are satisfied, they will again continue contribution, again they will get return. If they are satisfied, again they contribute, organization giving return. This will happen if return is greater than contribution. So what is this return? This incentive, if incentive is equals to return, inducement is return, this inducement is sufficient. Means it is sufficient to the extent that it is giving C plus X, contribution plus something else extra. Means something equivalent to my contribution. I given contribution equivalent to 1000 rupees plus something X I am getting. This combined together is inducement. If inducement is sufficient, if inducement or incentive, inducement means motivators. If inducements or incentives are sufficient so that they are greater than the contribution, then people will be happy, they will be satisfied. If they will be satisfied, further they will contribute. They will contribute, organization will be able to produce more. Then again organization is giving inducement sufficiently, again individual will contribute. This will lead towards an equilibrium. What is equilibrium? Contribution and return, contribution and satisfaction. So this idea is contribution satisfaction equilibrium. If the satisfaction produced by return or inducement given to someone so that he consistently contribute organization can have equilibrium. This equilibrium will have a status quo. Status quo here means employee will not leave organization. Absence of equilibrium is what? Either people are in the organization not contributing. So you are paying to employee for 8 hours, he can produce something equivalent to 1000, but he is contributing only equivalent to 200. He is working for 2 hours only, or 1.5 hours. So people are in the organization not contributing, organization will fail. Or people are leaving the organization, then disequilibrium will be created. Equilibrium is a state of a status quo in the organization in terms of people's contribution, in terms of the availability of employees to contribute, availability of the men to contribute in the organization. So an equilibrium in a contribution satisfaction can bring equilibrium in the organization. Organizational equilibrium is possible if contribution is continued through giving sufficient inducement to people. So here, see here, what does this mean? What does this mean? This means organization will survive if organization is a system. System will survive if people are motivated. When people will be motivated, when they assume that organization will give them more, and in reality they receive more than what they contribute. So inducement should be such that it is greater than the contribution, means C plus X, something extra should be given. C is my contribution, equivalent to that, plus something extra. This is, if it is inducement, then this incentive I will be contributing. So if incentive is, inducement is sufficient, which brings a net satisfaction, I will be contributing or member will be contributing, then organization will be producing more, then organization will pay more, give incentive, again people will contribute, again organization will produce more, pay more, again people will contribute, there will be an equilibrium state created. This is what Barnard has tried to say, this is what Barnard has talked about here. Barnard says an organization is efficient when it is able to produce sufficient quantity of inducement or offering sufficient quantity of inducement which maintain equilibrium. If inducements are less than contribution or less than value of contribution, there will be no net satisfaction. So return should be more, return should be in the form of inducements or incentives which is greater than the contribution given by people in the organization. Okay. So you come to know what is contribution satisfaction equilibrium. Now we can format the answer. So what to write here first? What to write here first as the answer? The question is related to Barnard's efficiency. Question type is Barnard's efficiency. This you don't have to write in the answer. I have written Barnard's efficiency is the topic of question. Your answer shall start with. First of all, you have to say, first you have to talk about Barnard's ideas of behavioralism. Means Barnard's idea is behavioral idea, human behavior based idea. How human beings behave in the organization, the study of that part, behavioralism. So human beings behavioral perspective is based on human motivation. So here with the start you say Barnard related or Barnard tried to associate associate efficiency with organizational motivation. Isn't it? Isn't it related to motivation? What is efficiency? Which organization is efficient? Organization is efficient which is able to give inducement in sufficient quantity so that organization survive. And what is inducement? It's a motivator. What is Barnard talks about 8 types of inducements or incentives. So 4 general inducement, 4 specific inducement Barnard suggested. Specific inducements, monetary or economic factor is 1, 3 is non-monetary factor. And 4 general inducements, it is concerned with associated attractiveness or informal organization, like that. This is not our topic of study. So he says inducement can help maintain equilibrium. Inducements are motivator. Therefore, Barnard has tried to relate efficiency with organizational motivation. Why I am writing this way? Because question, if you read the question, what question says? You have to make analysis of this statement. When you are making analysis, you are trying to talk or interrelate various logical interconnectedness of 2 or more phenomena. What is analysis? How to analyze? So you are trying to interrelate 2 or more phenomena in various ways. So news anchors make analysis, they try to take one angle, why this party got defeated. This was another angle, why voter turnout was more, why party got defeated because of turnout or something else. A party could win because of some freebies, etc. Different way to interconnect, a logical interconnectedness, logical interpretation is analysis here. So analysis, we are trying to, don't have to write the same thing. No, generally what people do when they are writing answer, I am repeating this again, that when students are writing the answer, they try to write the same thing what is written in this statement. It is not analysis. So analysis is trying to find out various logical interrelationship of 2 or more ideas in the question. So first point of analysis will be what here in our answer, that it's a behavioral idea where Barnard tries to associate efficiency with organizational motivation. And this is Barnard's specialized, his specialized thinking. Here he related efficiency with contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. Then you have to explain about contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium a bit. You don't have much scope to write because it is 150 words answer. So you can't write much, but you have to write what is contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. I discussed just now. Okay. Now how it is efficiency? So efficiency is basically, in Barnard's idea you say how this is efficiency. Why Barnard says efficiency depends on sufficient or offering of effective, adequate inducement to employees. Why he says this? Because it is efficiency, Barnard's efficiency relates to survival of organization. It is related to continuation of organization. Imagine organization is not offering sufficient incentive. You can write here example that public sector undertakings failed, started failing, they failed. decline of PSUs started, losses of PSUs started. I will write this example. Decline of PSUs started. Why? Because the PSUs were not giving the salary allowances to managers or sub-managerial positions or workers, employees in sufficient quantity. When the incentive was not sufficient, the employees of the PSU were contributing less than what they could. They were not giving their best. You will find difference between the private sector bank and public sector bank. There is difference in the efficiency. Why? Because of difference in the inducement. Or in private sector bank, there is a growth more and more. In public sector bank, growth is less. Yeah, exceptions are there. State Bank of India or one, two more banks you can say, exceptions are there. In general, banking sector failed because of incentive. Why public sector telecommunication companies failed? Why private sector telecommunication companies are rising? You say MTNL, BSNL, I discussed somewhere else also that they become extinct species. Why? Because of this incentive inducement. So inducement is not proper, employee will not contribute, productivity will be poor, organization will fall again. Again return will be poor given to, inducement will be poor because productivity is less, they have less profit, they will share less. Less inducement given, not sufficient inducement, then again contribution less, again productivity will be poor, loss, again there is a less inducement given because profit is less, less contribution given, less inducement given, less contribution will come. Gradually organization will fall. So Barnard's efficiency is concerned with survival. Ultimately, survival of the organization depends on how long it is able to give effective inducement, how long it is capable of motivating people, how long it is capable of maintaining equilibrium. Disequilibrium will lead gradually towards decline of organization. So continuation of organization and survival of organization has been related by Barnard to efficiency. And the example is clear, like you can give example of the PSU versus private sector. The question statement you see. Question statement says that the efficiency in specialized sense, the offer of inducement sufficient so that maintaining equilibrium. So organizational equilibrium could not be maintained in PSUs, public sector government organizations, because the incentive introduced by them was poor, inducement was poor. So PSU could not maintain equilibrium, they failed. And private sector are able to maintain equilibrium, maintaining the equivalent contribution or more contribution from employee. So more production, higher level of production, more return to employee. So they are able to maintain equilibrium. So the burning example of the Barnard's idea of efficiency we find while we compare the public sector undertakings with private sector organizations. You can write why telecommunication companies in India of the government PSUs failed. And why only the private sector telecommunication companies survive? Because they have been able to offer inducement to their employees to that sufficient level so that they are eager to contribute more and more. And it led towards maintaining equilibrium in the private telecommunication companies. You can write this as an example. This example you can write. Okay. We are just making analysis. Barnard's idea behavioralist. Barnard tried to associated efficiency with motivation. Then specialized thinking, contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. and efficiency, continuous and survival. Then the next part in this answer will be, I should make you clear that Barnard's idea had been extended by Simon. So Simon, you have to write about making analysis, Simon's view. Simon extended Barnard's idea. So Barnard's idea, what Simon said that there is a organizational solvency, he used term organizational solvency can be attained through inducements sufficient for satisfaction. Simon says that same idea, that individual contribute to organization give them sufficient incentive inducement, they are happy, then again they contribute. If organization fail to produce a sufficient inducement to be given to employee, organization will fail in their survival, they will become insolvent. So what is insolvent? Diwaliya. Have you heard this term, insolvent? They declare themselves to be not able to pay their dues and debts, called insolvent. So declaring themselves not capable of paying their debt, that means organization sink. That is, insolvent organization is what? Sinked organization. So solvent organization which is surviving, which is swimming. Simon says solvency can be maintained by inducement sufficient to bring satisfaction, and Simon calls it Barnard-Simon theory of organization. UPSC had asked one question from this Barnard-Simon theory of organization, is necessarily a theory of motivation. Previous year question, if you look, approximately 2005-06, UPSC asked the question. So Barnard-Simon theory of organization is necessarily a theory of motivation. This is Barnard-Simon theory of organization. Simon named this as Barnard-Simon theory. So Barnard-Simon theory of organization, Barnard-Simon theory of organization brings continuity to Barnard's theory concerning efficiency. But scholars say Simon tried to explain efficiency from the point of view of economy, scholars say. So you have to write that also. You are writing, after writing Barnard's thinking, making analysis, what you are writing? You are writing Simon's idea, what Simon says, Simon's theory, but scholars say Simon has tried to relate efficiency with economy. He misunderstood economy as efficiency. So this point also you have to write. Scholars say he misinterpreted efficiency as economy. Okay. But more generic, heading towards conclusion of the answer, more generic understanding of efficiency is productivity. Most of the classical scholars, classical thinkers, who are the classical thinkers? I am naming some of them. like Taylor, Fayol, Gulick, etc., Gulick, Urvik, below by other scholars. Most of the classical thinkers interrelated, or they said efficiency is productivity, ability of the organization to produce more and more, its efficiency. So they related efficiency, classical thinkers related efficiency with productivity. You have to write. And this is the general understanding of efficiency. Okay. In the conclusion, you started writing about Barnard. This analysis you made, you consumed more words writing about Barnard's thinking. You related how Barnard's idea extended by Simon. You related that. And then you talked about that what is general idea of efficiency. Efficiency means ability to produce more. So classical thinkers talked about efficiency, economy, effectiveness. So efficiency is related to ability to produce. Economy means less and less resource usage, resource consumption. And effectiveness means the outcome upon the people, or outcome in sense of the goal. Okay. So efficiency, generally efficiency, in general term efficiency is productivity. Classical thinkers assume that. Clear? But you have to conclude, you have to make conclusion. What conclusion you can draw? What do you mean by efficiency? Are you meaning the same thing which Barnard says? No. The world knows efficiency not in Barnard's sense. So it means Barnard is wrong? No, you don't have to write this way. You have to conclude that Barnard's specialized thinking, you have to write one statement like this, that efficiency has been defined by different scholars differently, but Barnard's idea is too specialized. And Barnard's idea is relevant in the context of understanding the human perception of the organization. It gives a new insight to understand how organization behave, how human behavior can shape the efficiency dimension of organization, can better understood with the help of Barnard's explanation or Barnard's vision of efficiency. So you are not criticizing Barnard, you are not rejecting Barnard's efficiency, even though you know that efficiency we know, common people know, management thinkers generally know as productivity. You are saying that Barnard's efficiency giving a new insight, new way to understand organization's behavior, how people behave in the organization. A new approach to understand organization is given by Barnard's idea of efficiency. So you conclude with what? You conclude with the Barnard's idea helps in better understanding of organization, or give a new approach to thinking about organization, or giving new insight into human motivation, interrelationship with organization. Like these statements you can conclude. So what inputs you see in the answer I have taken? When you are writing the answer, first of all try to interrelate one paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph, fifth paragraph. There should be a coherence in the answer. I said you earlier in other questions also. Coherence in the answer should be there. It should not look like patchwork. It used to happen in one decade in the past, that jeans pant people used to wear, and there is a cut in the jeans somewhere, and bringing some cloth and patching there by big brands and sewing them. It became fashion. And this is growing as a fashion in civil service writing also, that people are bringing material from here and there, no too much interrelationship from here and there. meaningless. That trend did not survive for long. And the examiner will not be depending on the trends. It will be seeing the logical requirement of the question. So questions, paragraphs should be interrelated. Everything you are writing should be logically interrelated to question. Logical linkage of each and every idea written in the answer. So first thing. Second thing, you are giving some lively examples like PSU private sector example you are giving. Third thing, other thinkers' view also we are incorporating. So similar thinking, supportive thinking by Simon we have taken. Classical thinkers also we quoted their idea of efficiency, we have quoted here, interrelationship we try to make. And finally we try to have some innovative conclusion. That conclusion is constructive, not denying the author's or thinker's view perception, but supporting it. So question was analysis. We did not have to find fault. Yeah, you could find fault, negativity also, but it is better to not find fault if the question set is like that. Is an innovative thinking suggested by Barnard. You can point out some negative thing, but try to avoid them, try to see the positive good angles of that more and more in analysis. When you are examining or critically examining, you can make, or you have to comment upon that. You can pick more negative aspects, dimensions, but while writing the answer, analysis form of answer, pointing out the negative side or criticizing that will not be good. Picking the, even the negative side, you pick the scholar's perception to write your answer better way. Okay. Support scholar's view through some perception of the scholar or your innovative thinking about the scholar's thinking this way. Clear? So again I am repeating the format of the question. So what is the question? Efficiency in the specialized sense is an organization's capacity to offer effective inducement in sufficient quantity to maintain the equilibrium of the system. Now question will be crystal clear. That efficiency is specialized, Barnard's own approach. And it depends on inducement, sufficient quantity inducement, so that equilibrium of the system maintained. So we discussed about equilibrium, system, everything. So the answer we have written here, Barnard's idea, behavioralist idea, behavioralism, his own way to try to explain various concepts. He tried to associate here efficiency with motivation, and his contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium's idea, which is motivations thinking, explaining it. Then talking about why he talked about this efficiency as efficiency, because survival of organization, continuation of organization for him is efficiency or depends on efficiency. And you can give the example which suits here. And then we try to write about Simon, who tried to extend or support Barnard's view, and then what he named this Barnard's contribution satisfaction theory as Barnard-Simon theory of organization. And scholars generally said that he misinterpreted classical Simon misinterpreted efficiency with economy. Classical thinkers finally say that, finally you have to write that classical thinkers, Taylor, Fayol, Gulick, Urvik, this is a common understanding today. They generally say efficiency is productivity. We also know efficiency as productivity today, but we can't say Barnard to be wrong. He has his own approach to organizational efficiency, organizational thinking, and Barnard's view can be seen from the perspective of understanding organization from motivational point of view. It gives a new insight as a conclusion, you can say. It gives a new insight to understand organization, define organization. It helps us understand human motivation, etc. So in one paragraph you can conclude. Your answer will be over. Clear? So this is the format. Try to write it. Try to write it You can give your own approach to writing. You can add some content, you can subtract some content from there. It depends on you. I don't say what I am writing is the best, but you can write the best with the help of these. Plus, in different answer format, there can be different new content, there can be different type of contents available. However, these formats are guidelines to understand the crux. It gives you a way to write answer, and I am sure that it will definitely help you approach the answer in the best manner. Thank you.